Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today we're going over TyrantKabuterimon. This deck is on the cusp of being one of those like high tier meta decks because it actually has some crazy good outs to a lot of the other decks that are going to be performing extremely well in the BT16 format. So I went ahead and threw my list together for you guys so that way you could check out, see what I've got going on, and give it a test for yourself. All right, as always, I have the whole deck profile pulled up for you guys so you can follow along with me here. We do have a couple talking points down here at the bottom for cards we're not including, but you could absolutely put them in your deck if you so choose. Yeah, so this right off the bat, we'll give you a little glimpse of what Tyrant does in case anybody's not familiar. So when Digivolving, you may play one Digimon card with the Insectoid or Larva trait from your hand with the play cost reduced by 8. So that's pretty much the entire deck. When we Digivolve, we can play out of body for free, almost. Pretty much everything, though. All turns while this Digimon is suspended, it isn't affected by by the effects of your opponent's Digimon. So, you know, like... oh gosh, what's out there? Like retaliation, that sort of thing. So you're unaffected by it, or any like deletion effects that they might have. And then end of your turn, once per turn, by suspending one of your other Digimon, return one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as the Digimon this effect suspended to the bottom of the deck. And that's every single turn, end of your turn. So that's what we're working with. That's kind of like the end all be all of the deck. So let's go through our support to kind of help get us there, right? We have the new BT16 Modimon, and this thing is so good. Like green decks, absolutely. Like green Insectoid decks, absolutely love this card. End of your turn, if this Digimon has Insectoid trait, it may attack an opponent's Digimon. So it's basically Blitz, but you have to target opponent's Digimon. But we're green, like we don't care, right? Because we're going to either pierce over it or we're going to guarantee that we're going to suspend something to be able to swing into anyways. So really, really powerful baby for us. So really big fan of that one. Next, we got the BT15 Tentomon. This is the super rare that everyone's been complaining about the price tag going up on. Start of your main phase by suspending one Digimon. One of your Digimon with the Insectoid trait gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. So this has got a couple different facets to it. Suspending one Digimon. It doesn't specify yours or your opponent's, so you can choose to suspend your opponent's Digimon, which is super, super strong just by itself. No restrictions, just start of your main phase, suspend one of their Digimon for free. Cool, okay. And then one of your Insectoid gets 3000 until the end of the opponent's turn. This is great for the Tyrant end of turn ability, so boost up one of your Digimon that you're going to suspend with your Tyrant, so that way you can guarantee that it's going to have enough DP. Also, we have some great redirect defensive capabilities, kind of like how Cherrymon was, where you can redirect an attack into a suspended Digimon. So this is going to be great for your defensive techs as well. And then all turns once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, gain one memory. These are pretty popular in a lot of builds simply because of this Modimon. So end of your turn, you're going to basically blitz and then run something over and kill it, and then you're going to gain that memory back. So you're going to see a lot of inheritables like that in a lot of different Tyrant builds. Next, we've got the new TyrantKabuterimon here. This is going to be one of our searchers, so on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add one card with the Insectoid trait among them to your hand, return the rest to the bottom of the deck. All turns while this Digimon is suspended, it gets 1000 DP. We need big DP for multiple things, getting over our opponent's bodies. When we get suspended by the Tyrant effect, we need to be able to be as big as possible, so that way we can bottom deck something of theirs. So good DP boosting here with a great search ability. So nice and flexible, and it also digs 4 deep, which is really, really good. Next, we've got the Terriermon from Starter Deck 17. Main, once per turn, you may play one green Tamer card or one level 3 Digimon card with Lopmon in its name from your hand with the play cost reduced by 2. Getting Tamers into play always just kind of feels bad, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to spend 3-4 memory, probably take my entire turn just to play this Tamer, and then I have to wait for turn to come back to get any like extra value out of it. This Terriermon kind of helps like reduce that kind of strain, right? So we're going to reduce the cost by 2, possibly still keeping it on our turn, or at least choking our opponent in the process. So nice and flexible here. And then it also has that all turns while it's suspended, it gets 1000 DP. So I am running that one at 4 of, but I debated running this one at 4 of instead of the Terriermon. I think it's kind of personal preference here. It's the Kakuamon here from BT10. Your turn once per turn when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, gain 1 memory. So similar to the Tentomon that we already saw, but just as a backup source. The only thing is, of course, we don't have as crazy good of a main effect. In fact, we have no effect. So just for the inheritable here to round out our rookies. You could argue maybe even running just 12 rookies if you so choose. I'm a big fan of running 14 rookies, but there have been plenty of times where I'm running 12. I think in my Greymon list, which is a big stack deck like this one is, I often run 12 just because if you have enough searchers in your deck, like you're running the training options and the memory boost options, you can get away very easily with running 12. But for this purposes, I stuck with the 14. For our level 4s here, first up we got the promo Kawagamon. Yeah, this thing is kind of a little pricey. It's one of those promos that's kind of hard to get, like Raremon was. On play when digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. Like, we're doing so much suspension effects, and then this is basically just kind of stun them a little bit. Like, it's 4 play costs, so just dropping it for 4 isn't too bad. We can play it for free off the Tyrant. Like, there's plenty of uses for this, and then it's got a your turn, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP, which is just, you don't have to be suspended or anything like that, which you probably will be, but it's a bigger buff. So end of your turn will still work with the Kawagamon inheritable. All right, next up, I'm running the Kawagamon X, okay? It's a 0 Evo cost on top of a Kawagamon, so we'll get some value there, which I'm totally here for. Don't mind if I do, but mainly it's here for the piercing. Insectoid gets piercing, and that's really why I went with it. So I went with a 4 of. This is basically how we're going to get piercing for us for the deck. As our main go-to. And what I like about it is because it is Kawagamon X, I don't have to worry about, switching, choosing what I want to Evo with for our level 4s. I got a little bit more relaxed. So if I've got, Kawaga in hand, I can Evo this, and then I can still Evo into this on top of the Kawagamon and still get both value out of both cards. So that's really nice. And even if I have to skip the Kawagamon and go straight into this, it's still the same Evo cost of 2. So I don't mind it at all. It feels really, really good. And it is our source of piercing for the deck. Now, there is an alternative for your level 5 slots here. You have the promo Okuamon. This is the one that we used back in the day for Grandis. So it's your turn. When this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Insectoid traits, all of your opponent's Digimon gain all turns. When this Digimon becomes suspended, lose 1 memory until the end of your opponent's turn. So it's kind of like a little mini ice wall, right? But you can even trigger it during your own turn. So first, this Akuamon has to Digivolve into an Insectoid, right? So you have to basically go into your Megas, but it does have the piercing inheritable. I went with different level 5s. I found that the Kawagamon X in the 4 slot fit really well, but the level 5 slot kind of there's kind of some tug of war on which level 5s you want to run with. So I didn't want to add the Akuamon into the mix as well, because I really want that piercing at a 4 of, and I don't want to run this Akuamon at a 4 of in the deck. So the Kawagamon X, absolutely though. All right, next up for our last level 4, I do have the BT16 Kabuterimon. All turns while this Digimon is suspended, it isn't affected by by the effects of your opponent's Digimon. So same as we were talking a minute ago. So like survive retaliation, or if they're trying to like do a big DP minus on you because of like vaccine angels or something like that, you're just like, nope, I'm not affected by your Digimon effects. So this is really nice, just because basically if they want to clear this Kabuterimon, they have to waste a swing on it. But also, all turns, once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, gain 1 memory. So again, we're tripling up on that inheritable of gaining that memory back. There are some level 5s also that have the same thing where you gain that memory back on deletion. But again, I think there's some really good level 5s that you don't really want to pass on. So you got to kind of make your choices where you can. You could swap the Kabuteri and the Kawagamon for your 4 and 3 if you so choose. So I guess it's just kind of personal preference on which one you like. For the level 5s, okay, so this is where you get into a real nitty gritty of kind of hard to choose stuff. Not that the other stuff we haven't been choosing, like Blade Kawagamon is also really good, giving that, that DP boost is really good in conjunction with your TyrantKabuterimons. But the level 5s, I think, is even more strenuous on what to choose from. But I think most everyone agrees that the BT16 Metal Life Kawagamon is like the go-to level 5. This is the one that you're probably going to be running 4 of, like in every Tyrant build you see. So on play with Digivolving, you may suspend one Digimon. Again, doesn't specify yours or your opponent's, doesn't matter. Then one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. So he can give it to himself, he can give it to another target, and then after this, you can Evo into your Tyrant, and then your Tyrant effect can trigger for that end of turn effect on whatever you boosted, right? So nice and flexible effect here. Like the targeting is flexible, the suspension is super flexible. So I really like the Metal Life Kawagamon. And then opponent's turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may switch the target of attack to one of your suspended Digimon with the Insectoid trait. So this is what I was talking about with that Cherrymon, right? Where you can redirect into a suspended, but now we have it on our Metal Life Kawagamon as an inheritable, because that's the worst part about Cherrymon is you never want to Evo on top of Cherrymon because then you lose that effect. And this is like, no. You want to Digivolve. You want to get into your boss monster on top of me, so that way you'll have this effect forever, basically. So super good. This is R4 of course, for the deck. Now, this is where it gets super personal preference on what other level 5s do you run. I've seen all kinds of stuff. There was like the other Akuamon, like that super old Akuamon that gained you memory on deletion. I have seen some people running the Mega Kabuterimon Ace for, Blast Evo is really cool against something like Magnamon X, but I didn't really see the value of this one, particularly in that matchup, right? So on player, when Digivolving, one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn, which, that could be good for, again, the same thing that the Metal Life is doing, right? Giving that 3000 DP. Then if one of their Digimon is attacking, you may switch the target of attack to this Digimon. So again, it's kind of like doing what Metal Life is doing, but not in the inheritable. It's just in the main part there. Even if you choose your own self, you're only 10,000 DP. Like, you're not stopping a ton of stuff, but it could be a super surprise, right? Because you could have an unsuspended level 4, and I don't know, say they swing with like Pyldramon, and then you go Mega Kabuterimon Ace, and you just redirect that 8k into you. So there's some good value there. And then all turns, while this Digimon is suspended, it isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon. So then we see a little bit of that as well. So you can see why a lot of people are running this as well. It's a mixed bag, right? Sometimes you'll see this, sometimes you won't. Some people don't like the aces. It doesn't really do anything at all into the Magnamon X matchup. So, and that's the one that, of course, we compare a lot of our deck theory to is Magnamon X because of how much of a problem it can be. But it's still a good card against Imperial. So if Imperial takes off even more than it's already expected, it might be a good one to add in. For me, though, I went with just some interesting stuff that I thought was like really, really awesome. So one, we got the Mega Kabuterimon from the starter deck, the old starter deck. Your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So this is really cool. You can get that trash and then you can pierce afterward. It's just a really nice control card. You don't ever have to worry about giving up your attack. Even if you don't have piercing, right? You're like, I could swing for a security and get a security check, or I can clear that body. With a card like this or the piercing, right, you still get your check either way, so you feel really good about it. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Mega Kabuterimon, always have been. I think he's really solid. He's only a 3 Evo cost. There are other cards that do this, right? Even some that are Insectoids. I think they're Insectoids at least, but most of the stuff is out there is like 4 Evo cost, and I just didn't want to do that. So we're staying on brand with the Insects and going with that 3 Evo cost here. Now, the real spicy one here is this Rhino Kabuterimon. I did take this from a JP player. and it just blew me away. The second I saw it, I'm like, yes, absolutely. I want this in my Tyrant build because this thing is crazy. So the first part is irrelevant. It's mainly the when attacking, if a card with hybrid or insectoid in its traits is in this Digimon's evolution cards, this Digimon can digivolve into a Digimon card of Insectoid or 10 Warriors in its traits in your hand for a memory cost of 3. Mind you, this is when attacking, so you're good, all right? You're gonna be golden. You just swing with this. You evo for only 3, and I say only 3 because if you look at a lot of our stuff, our evo cost here, Tyrant here is a 6 evo cost. Shivamon is a 4 evo cost. Grand Kawagamon Ace. Normally 4 evo cost, but if you have a level 5 insectoid, it's only a 3 cost. But still, you see like there's value there, especially on this Tyrant, because you don't really want to use the Tyrant, like you don't want to evo on top of one of your other megas, not all the time at least. You're right, you want to put this on your big stack, and you don't want to pay that 6 evo cost for it, right? So TyrantKabuterimon, super good in conjunction with Tyrant. So really thought that was a spicy level 5 choice that you can go with. So yeah, we already talked about the Tyrant, how good he is here. He can digivolve for on top of another level 6 insectoid with a play cost of 13 or less for a cost of 2. Basically, you can't evo him on top of himself. You can't just go Tyrant on top of Tyrant on top of Tyrant. So they did restrict it somewhat there. But he's going to be really good for a lot of stuff. Just getting out extra bodies here. Free bodies for sure. We'll talk about the Grand Kawagamon Ace right here. He's only a 7 play cost. Yeah, he's an ace, but he's only a 7 play cost. So you can play out a mega for free off the Tyrant. So that feels really good. He does have the Blast Evo as well. And then on play, when Digivolving, suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Cards this effect suspends can't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase. Then delete 1 of their suspended Tamers. So we get some Tamer hate. Suspending or deleting Tamers is always a super good ability. We love it every time we can get our hands on some, and this is such an easy way to do it, right? You can either Blast Evo, you can hard play it for 7, not even out of the question, honestly. Hard play this for 7, stun 2 of their Digimon, and then delete 1 of their suspended Tamers. So if they already had a suspended Tamer, like a Davis or something that reduces Evo costs, or gains on memory back, right? You can go ahead and pop that Davis, and then you still have their 2 stunned bodies on field for 7 play costs. So not out of the question. But again, playing it for free is even more insane. And then your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes suspended, 1 of your Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. So you can get really cheeky with this. Like, be careful on your order or your order of operations. So it is a your turn effect. So it happens the moment it becomes suspended, before like when attacking effects go off, before, you know, your opponent's blocking effects or anything like that, or their blast. It's the moment he becomes suspended, something gets security attack +1 for the turn. Also keep in mind, if you're playing against like a Venusmon, that you be careful about your order of operations. So if you're going to use something that suspends him, like the Tyrant effect, right? Make sure you do it in the right order, because the moment he becomes suspended, something has to get security attack +1. So yeah, he is really, really awesome though. Big fan for sure. All right, next up we got Shivamon. Yeah, we're bringing Shivamon back from BT8. Opponent's turn. While all of your Digimon are suspended, your opponent can't use option cards. Golly, it's been forever since we've seen an effect that strong. Can't use option cards. Just so crazy strong. Like, that's good against every deck ever, right? Can't use option cards. And then your turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your unsuspend phase, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Like, just free clears of security, so you don't have to worry about triggering anything, just like with the Mega Kabuterimon, right? So this is a fantastic target to trigger for your Tyrant, right? So your end of turn, once returned by suspending 1 of your other Digimon, return 1 of your opponent's Digimon with as much DP or less as the Digimon this effect suspended to the bottom of the deck. So it's already 12k, and then like if it's if you played it off of the Tyrant, it's not bad. It's only a 4 play cost, not too bad at all. Did I say 2 or 4? I don't know. It's a 4 play cost, either way, so not too bad. And then yeah, you give it some DP boost like the Tentomon and stuff like that. You know, the ones that you get to choose your target for, making it instantly 15k, like as much or less. So for that Tyrant effect, yeah, that's pretty much going to hit everything. The Tyrant and the Shivamon combo together, also super good. The Grand Kawagamon, great. The Tyrant as well, or the Shivamon as well, super good. So I am running these in tandem of 2 and 2. Also, because you do want to, if you can't use the Rhino to Evo for cheap, and you don't want to Evo the 6 Evo cost here, you can just Evo on top of these guys. So we are running 8 megas, but that's because the Tyrant here kind of doubles as, like, you want to say like a pseudo X antibody, because it Evos on top of the same level. Next we got the Izzy here. So start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, set it to 3. So we got a memory fixer. And then opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, by suspending this tamer, switch the target of attack to one of your suspended Digimon with the Insectoid trait. So same thing that the Metal Life is doing, but in case you don't have the Metal Life, you can use your Izzy here. This Izzy can easily be swapped, of course, for Mimi. Like, that's a classic, like, no-brainer, can fit into any green deck ever. So that is a choice as well. You just gotta be kind of careful with, like, the Shivamon, because you need to make sure all your stuff is suspended. So make sure you can get all your everything on your field suspended. But yeah, he's a really good one as well. Again, if you can't get the Metal Life, he's going to be a fantastic card you want to get on the field. We got the 1 of HPD. HPD in conjunction with Tyrant, you know, 6 Evo cost, that's a lot, so let's just make it 1. How about that? Also, it helps you suspend one of your Digimon to make sure that your Shivamon can stay online or anything like that. So yeah, HPD in here, absolutely 1 of. You got to have it, right? And then lastly, we're basically just digging. We got our dig cards. We got 2 green memory boosts here for that dig 4 for a green Digimon card, because that's all this deck is about, basically. Like, your option cards don't matter, your tamer cards don't matter. You just got to build an Evo stack. You got to get into that Tyrant, and the Tyrant's got to play that free body, and then you just got to basically lock your opponent down between, you know, the Gran or the Shiva, you know, deleting tamers, stunning their field, preventing them from playing options, right? You just get both of those on field, like, and you just keep on going, and you're just gonna be in a great position. So and then we also have the agility training, basically, that does the same thing as the green memory boost. It's only half the search, but you can hit options off of it. It gets around memory blockers and stuff like that. Since this is a green deck, you can expect there could be more Terriermons, the memory blocker Terriermons floating around, as well as you see it in Rapidmon used. So that memory blocker Terriermon in Rapidmon is pretty popular as well. So the memory boosts can be a little iffy, but the agility training, you know, all your training cards are usually pretty on the level here. So yeah, it's a great one. Whatever ratio you prefer, honestly. And then the last card I didn't include here, but I always got to talk about having some sort of big removal, right? If you can't clear the bodies, right? If there's just something that you can't deal with, having removal options is always solid. So Giant Missile is probably my favorite green removal option right now. I like it more than, like, the Bloom Lord card, right? It's nice when you can reduce its cost, but it's not as flexible. So suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then return one of their suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. One of their Digimon can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. So it's like you're getting that whole bonus extra effect there of stunning something. So you suspend something, you can remove anything that they have suspended, you know, any one of their Digimon that they have suspended, and then you can stun something else. So it can basically affect 2 things at once, potentially, assuming that they already had at least one thing suspended. So I do like the Giant Missile. I think it's a really powerful removal card for sure. Big fan of it. I don't think it's all that needed, because we have the Tyrant effect, and that Tyrant, like, he's really good at handling removal or removing things of your opponents. So I think you're okay without the removal in this deck because it's so built into everything that it's doing. But I did at least want to mention it. And that is it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or suggestions, put it in the comments. You know, I'll definitely read, try to reply back whenever I can. And yeah, please like the video. It's the only thing YouTube gives a crap about. So just give it a quick like. And if you're not already subscribed, we're almost to 5K.